And to start off, I really want to take us back in history a little bit. There were so many ballers in the past that we forget about now because we're so wrapped up in the now. But if you guys can remember with me, there was a time in our country when we were ruled by a kingdom that was 3,000 miles away. They were extracting taxes from us. They had a huge-ass navy that was totally successful. Historically, the Royal Navy could basically kick the crap out of anybody that tried to, come face-to-face with it. And so there were these people, Americans, who said, fuck that. We are going to change the way that this world is. And then so if we fast forward now to more modern history, there are a lot of examples of these change makers as well. There are the typical people you think of like Steve Jobs, who I'll come back to in a minute. There are also females like Coco Chanel, a poor woman working in a sewing factory, basically a sweatshop in France, who basically decided to change style and that she might as well be an impresario, one of the first in France, right? Or even social activists like Rosa Parks. These are people who didn't say who is going to do this. They said, I am going to do this, or we are going to do this. And if you look at an interview with Steve Jobs when really Apple was hitting his stride, he said, you look at the world around us and you realize that all this stuff was built by people and it can be changed by people. So okay, if you guys will participate in this little experiment with me here, if you close your eyes with me and then you think about the walls of the hall that you're in, imagine that they were really thick slabs of glass on every side, including the roof. And then that these huge glass panes, they just with the snap of a finger, they become immersive. You are immersed in London or Paris or in the office of Credit Suisse, and you're now doing a telepresence thing, and then you walk over to the wall, and then you just take your hand and you just move some image, right? Does anybody else have a vision of things that are definitely going to happen in the future that you just know is going to happen and it's just a few years or whatever away? Raise your hand. I want to hear them. What do you think? More visualization. Anybody else? Yeah. AI. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. The world, everything that we know about the world will be disrupted. Everything is disrupted at some point. The DMV, credit cards, your computers, the little slabs of glass that we have in our pockets that now connect you to almost everything in the planet. It will be disrupted. This stuff will be disrupted. And so the question is, who will disrupt that? And how will it be disrupted? But before we get there, I want to take you back to my first corporate experience because I'm here to talk to you guys about career stuff. And you've taken the course. And so maybe some of you guys have work experience, but I'm going to tell you a couple takeaways that I realized. So if you're with me here, I graduated from a top MBA program at Sonoma State 2012, and then another MBA program after that. And then I couldn't get a good job, so I was like, what the hell am I doing wrong? I rocked my resume with this guy, which you guys have seen in the class, and then I got this job, and I was like, this is sweet. It really worked. So I'm in this office, a Fortune 500 company, and it's like my first couple weeks on the job. And in order to help me get clients, they gave me this call list. It's like 100 or 1,000 names and numbers that I had to call. And, I just rocked it. Hello, this is Davis. You want to talk to me? Click. Hey, you want to talk to me? Click. So the boss is like, hey, Davis, what do you think of working here at Robert Half? So here's me here. I was, oh yeah. And then here's my boss. And then here's the district boss who comes up from San Francisco every now and again. And I'm here. And I'm like, oh yeah, guys, this is great. I like talking to people, but I really don't like the telemarketing. And here's my boss and their boss. Telemarketing? We don't do telemarketing here. We do outbound consultative sales calls. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's telemarketing. And, so then my boss pulls me aside after the meeting. She says, Davis, you're going to need to learn to speak corporate. And I was thinking in my head, fuck that. And I was like, okay, so like I'm supposed to pretend that what we're doing is not what we're actually doing. I'm supposed to put lipstick on these pigs and pretend like this is not the reality. But I want to live like a person with integrity. I want to be honest about what I do with my time. And if we got to telemarket, fuck it, let's call it telemarketing. But let's not call an apple not an apple, right? So I knew that this was not the life for me. And I'm not here to disparage corporations, because corporations are like snowflakes. There are some snowflakes that land on a cow patty. There are other snowflakes that are awesome. So corporations are all different, right? But I'll tell you a couple takeaways from this corporate experience for me. The first one was that ultimately it was an awesome experience. The business that I built was totally predicated on my corporate experience. So for those of you out there who see yourselves owning a business one day, being an entrepreneur, I would suggest to you that there is nothing wrong in the early part of your career with getting a traditional job. You will learn a lot, and if they have good training programs, this is training that will take you through your career and be very powerful. Fuel for your jetpack, no doubt. Today, I'm going to meet with tons of professors here at Sonoma State to expand on this program that Rich and I have started on. These are skills that I got at Robert Half. That's number one. Number two, when you are in that situation and you're like, I do not like this company, I want to work somewhere that I can believe in, I want to take charge of my career, that's when career hacking becomes very important. And so that's why I think it's so great that Rich has given you guys the opportunity to take this course. We've worked on this partnership together, because that is about taking the power back. Who here believes that environmental stewardship is critical for our future? Raise your hand. That's a lot of you, right? That's a lot of you. Who believes that fair trade is an important issue? Raise your hand. A lot of you, right? Who loves to work in innovation and wants to create shit? A lot of you. So the thing with career hacking is that is the kind of power that can get you spending your time doing shit that you want to do. You know, that's so important, guys. We have such a little amount of time on this world. How you spend your time, I think, you should think about that, right? I think that you'll feel so much more powerful. You will feel in the thrill of life if you're doing something that you dig. That's what this whole career hacking thing is all about. That's why I started the course, why you guys are doing it. And so let's get back to this whole who will versus I will or we will. This shit is all going to change. It's all going to get disrupted. Everything eventually gets disrupted. And so what I've noticed is that a lot of times we're trained to project our hopes for the future onto political leaders or onto companies. But instead, I would encourage you guys to take the power and say, I am going to do this, we are going to do this, because that's what America is. I know it sounds cheesy, you guys, but America is fucking special. I have lived in France, I've lived in Chile, I've lived in China. I can tell you for a fact that the entrepreneurial spirit is in our blood. These revolutionaries that made us to be a free country, they fucking changed the entire world. Democracy in America was revolutionary, and France followed us, you know. We were the beginning, and it was about people who are our ancestors who did this stuff, you know. So the power is here. It's our special gift, and it is your special gift. Two, you guys grew up in this culture, and I can tell you that culture is powerful. The television shows that you've seen, the political leaders in our system, the books that you read, the way you experience customer service. We take this stuff for granted here in America because for many of us it's all that we know. But I can tell you in other countries around the world, it is not so. In other countries around the world, people don't believe in giving small businesses capital. They'll say, oh, you're so arrogant to think that you could run a small business. Fuck that. You can run a small business. You can do it too, you know? And that's what's so special about being here in America. So whether you are a foreign student here in America, whether you guys were born in America, whether you're black, white, brown, male, female, whatever, you know, if you're Bruce Jenner, you can, or Caitlyn Jenner, you can do it. America is here for us all, and what we will see more going forward is that entrepreneurship is not just for the entrepreneurs. Because as things get disrupted, change happens. And when change happens, that's when people don't know what the fuck is going on. If you were to ask the head of the New York Times, the head of The Economist, the head of Fox News, the head of NBC News right now, what's the future of media? You know what they would say? I don't know. They would say they don't know, because they don't know. They don't know how people are going to get paid as journalists. These are questions that do not have finite answers. So what that takes is entrepreneurship from their team. That's the people who rise to the top, right? Is people who say, let's try it, man. I got this idea for how we can run all the New York Times articles through the Facebook news feed, or we can partner with Facebook, or whatever it is that the solution is. So the utility of entrepreneurship and that I will or we will mindset is obvious if you run your own business. But it's also super important if you're going to work for other people. Because you know what? The deal is, most companies are not there to guarantee your income. They are there to use your labor to provide value and make a profit to other people. Which means that if you no longer provide value, then you will get canned. So we are moving out of an era where we can go and do the same function forever and ever. We are into a new era where you need to constantly learn, constantly upskill, and constantly push the boundaries and create value. And at first this sounds like a lot of work, but I'll tell you that it's fucking awesome. Because there's so much new stuff happening. You said AI earlier. How can you use AI for some application that might be relevant to something you're passionate about? Environmental sustainability, social justice, innovation. You know, how can you do this stuff? And that's fun. That is what living is. And that is really what the root of America is. We are a pioneer nation where we say, fuck that, we are going to do it. I'm not relying on the government to do it for me. And you guys all have that in your blood. We all have it. So I encourage you, my summary of this talk is to shift from that who will mindset to this I will or the we will mindset. And I encourage you to tackle those problems. Go do it, because the world is changeable and you can be the one to change it. So that's it. Do you guys have any questions?